Hello. CSIRO has determined nuclear power does not currently provide an economically competitive solution in Australia. So why do we even consider it?
Mark Speakman, I'll start with you.
Thanks.
Well, your previous New South Wales government was seen as really, leading the country in many ways on a lot of these sort of climate change policies. Do you think there's a place for nuclear?
Well, I don't think we should rule it out. I don't think any technology should be off the table. And if there's a ban at the moment, as there is, that ban should be lifted. That said, most experts will say that it's at least 15 or 20 years before you could get a nuclear facility up and running in Australia. We know we are facing enormous challenges in getting clean, reliable, ample, affordable energy supply in the next few years. We can't wait for nuclear, so in the meantime, here in New South Wales, we should be going ahead with our electricity roadmap, which will have heavy reliance on renewables. And
so, do you think it's worth pursuing it as a sort of policy, as the federal government is doing? Federal opposition is?
Technology can change, costs can change, so there should not be a ban on it. But in the meantime, because there is an urgency in making sure we've got clean and reliable and affordable energy, we need to get on with the rollout of renewables.
One thing that doesn't change is what do you do with the pollution that's from it, Where do you store that? That's not going to change.
Well, that's a fair point, but that's a point for independent assessment, environmental assessment in the future. It's not a reason to put it off the table now.
OK. Bridget, there's obviously a big debate in your party about this.
There's no debate in my party about this.
Just about where to put it.
No debate.
Is there really no debate?
PK,
there's a debate.
I was at COP28 in Dubai in December, where the IPCC, the IEA, has said for the globe to get to net zero by 2050, nuclear has to be part of the solution. We need to triple nuclear energy production globally to actually get there as a globe. Now, we are kidding ourselves if we don't think our country, with an AUKUS alliance, is not going to be have nuclear over coming decades. That is going to be a reality. We think it should be part of the mix to 2050, absolutely, because renewables aren't going to be able to deliver it all.
Who's going to have it in their backyard? And when are you going to tell us where the sites will be? Because
well, we will be announcing our policy well in time for the next election,
and will you be specific about
including locations. But the fact is, Labor's target, we're not going to get to their target by 2030. And so to say it's not going to be able to be delivered, for 10 or 15 years, we want this to have cheap, reliable energy. AEMO, the Grattan Institute, everybody says the path we're on, 100% renewable, will not work. We will not get there. We will have blackouts. It's not McKenzie saying it.
No,
it's not the National Party, it's the experts.
The economic part of the question there, that no one is saying that this is a cheap solution or that it's a fast solution.
Well, nor is 100,000 kilometres of new transmission lines either that don't have social licence, that are going to cost a fortune, and you can't get through the planning laws.
But if you're struggling getting social licence for those transmission lines, how are you going to get them for nuclear reactors?
Well, I think the Australians...
But honestly,
I know which faction everybody's in the audience now. But
the faction PK asked a good question.
No, PK, the fact is that those countries, like all our G20 competitors globally, you want a manufacturing industry, the G20 are either have nuclear or are in the plans to actually get it set up, except for us. Germany, France, Canada, America, the UK.
Germany just shut them.
Yes. I don't know which untruth to pick up on there, because... and Peter Dutton was picked up on this in Insiders. He's been making the claim that all the G20 countries have nuclear...
No, not all the G20. I said, or on a pathway to get it.
Germany is getting out of it. Italy is getting out of it. Indonesia doesn't have it and doesn't have plans to.
Yes, it does.
You say 100,000 kilometres of transmission lines. Last week it was 28,000 was the claim being made. It's actually 4,000 till 2030. But,
Murray...
Patricia, you make the good point that...
I'm talking about the difficulty of the social licence.
Well, you make a good point. There is a debate on in the National Party and the Liberal Party at the moment about this, particularly about the locations, because they are the new NIMBYs. They don't want nuclear in their backyards. They want it everywhere else, but not in their electorate. I mean, Scientists took 13 years to split the atom. Peter Dutton has managed to split the coalition on this
on that all day.
in 13 days.
He has. Murray,
that's efficient.
When are you going to front up after report after report, energy expert after energy expert says you are not going to meet your 2030 emissions reduction targets or your renewable rollout for 2030?
Reduction target and still
so what I'm going to do is press park and we're going to revisit this with you two because, boy, oh boy, wasn't that